Yeah. Welcome back to yet another episode of Crypto and the Caribbean. I am your host, L, and for today's episode, we got a couple nice stories for you. Peep the corner. First up, we got the Bahamas 360, the complete and compelling choice. Next up, we talk about T&T Parliament for a bit and how their decision to allow submissions from the general populace to actually dictate what the future of their fintech and digital asset space is going to look like. And finally, we move on over to Barbados. Well, Ghana to be exact. Now, it's an older video that we're going to be looking at with Prime Minister Mia Mottley in Ghana and some of us speech, but I'm going to tie it into some of the themes and some of the previous things that we've covered with her on the show. All that being said, we ain't come here to slap up, so let's get started. Let's kick it off with the first story, the Bahamas 360, the complete and compelling choice. What exactly is this? So let's take a look. So I can't remember how I came upon this story. I can't remember if it was Trek, if it was one of the people in one of the Caribbean WhatsApp groups, but I get these stories from all over the place. But I saw the mention of this and I wanted to look into it a bit more. So I Googled it. Found the page for the event itself, but then I also found the LinkedIn. So we're going to look at the page first. So here, the Bahamas 360, the complete and compelling choice, hosted by Hedge Week in partnership with the Bahamas Financial Services Board. Now, this was not too long ago, a little over a week ago, as of recording today, Friday, April 1st, at the University Club of New York. Now, don't ask me where this is because I have no clue other than New York. That's your answer is as good as mine. But that isn't important. About the event, it reads here, we are pleased to invite you to join us at this exclusive event to hear from expert practitioners on the range of wealth management services offered in the Bahamas, the new regulatory regime for investment funds and digital assets and registered exchanges. At this event, you will learn more about the types of investment funds under Bahamian law, benefits of establishing your fund in the Bahamas, wealth management strategies, how the digital assets and registered exchanges bill make the Bahamas a center for fintech, the Bahamas' value proposition as a financial services center, and the role of international financial centers in the global finance. So to summarize all of these points, the event is basically saying, look, this is a really great place to bring your money. This is a really great place to do things with your money. This is a really great place for you to come here and make money. That's what I'm reading, and that could be biased, but that's what I'm getting from it. Thanks to our sponsors, Bahamas Financial Services Board, Keystone, Higgs & Johnson. Some of these may not seem too familiar, but I know one of them certainly does. No shade though, because it's expected. So going to the agenda, after the arrival and registration, we have Michael Halkitis, Speaker Tanya McCartney, CEO Executive for BFSB, opening remarks, Minister of Economic Affairs, Executive Director Christina Rolls, Securities Commission of the Bahamas, a testimonial here, why the Bahamas for FTX, and who better for the public-facing presentation of FTX digital markets than Mr. Valdez Russell himself. This man is going to be the poster boy for FTX. He is going to be that smiling face that you associate with the company. I wasn't able to find any video or any recording of the meeting itself, but we could pretty much guess what the conversation was about. Sans the details, obviously, but bring your money here. It's going to be good. We can save it. We can store it. We can whatever with it. Just bring your money to the Bahamas. We got the infrastructure set up, or we're having it set up. So the Bahamas value proposition, products and services deep dive, themes to be covered, innovative legislation, creating innovative investment opportunities from McKinney, Bancroft and Hughes, Higgs and Johnson. So these are the sponsors. It looks like the sponsors are doing presentation. So was this did you buy your way in? Because every sponsor is a speaker. I guess that's how these things go. Higgs & Johnson, Bahamas Wealth Management Toolkit, Keystone, the Bahamas 360, Securities Commission questions based on presentation. Okay. And CG Captive Managers, captive insurance in the Bahamas. Now, if you're like me, you have absolutely no idea what captive insurance is. So let's look that up really quickly. A captive insurer is generally defined as an insurance company that is wholly owned and controlled by its insureds. Its primary purpose is to insure the risk of its owners, and its insureds benefit from the captive insurer's underwriting profits. A captive insurance company is a wholly owned subsidiary insurer that provides risk mitigation services for its parent company or a group of related companies. A captive insurance company may be formed if the parent company cannot find a suitable outside firm to insure them against particular business risks. If the premiums paid to the captive insurer create tax savings, if the insurance provider is more affordable, or if it offers better coverage for the parent company's risk. Okay, so if you're like me, you still don't really understand what a captive insurance company is or captive insurance, but they definitely do, and it's gonna be in the Bahamas. That's a guarantee. That much I know. So this was a quick in and out. So they came in at 8:30 and the whole thing was done at 10:45. They didn't waste no time. They wasted no time. They came here and they knew what they needed to talk about. They did their presentations. I feel like these deals were already done. This is just like okay, this is what's gonna happen. Okay, this is what's gonna happen here. Okay, this is what's gonna happen here. And that's the vibe I'm getting from this, because 8:30 to 10:45 covering legislation and wealth management and how these things are going and how FTX fits in all of it. That's nuts. These things were decided beforehand. So these were the speakers themselves, and they have some more details about them too. So going through the rest of them, I mean, I'm gonna have the link down below for this specific page as well. But one thing I did want to do was dip into the BFSB LinkedIn page to actually do a bit of digging, because I saw some stuff in there that was a bit interesting. There we go. So remember, the BFSB is the group that's co-hosting the entire event. So I wanted to look into their LinkedIn page to get a feel for like where their heads at, what they've been focusing on, what some of their goals and stuff have been. We came across this. CEO and exec director gave the closing keynote address at the Leading in Uncharted Waters at the Caribbean Association of Banks, Inc. 2021 conference.
Let's consider resilience. You know, if we stop for a moment and consider where we have come from and what we have gone through as a people, you will see that uncharted waters are nothing new for us Caribbean people. Despite the magnitude of the pandemic, the very nature and vulnerability of our small island developing states has exposed us to external shock factors that have resulted in our resilience.
So, I mean, we don't need to finish the whole thing. You get the general gist of it. The theme here, leading in uncharted waters, kind of encompasses what they're about right now. This seems to be their overarching theme right now. They're fully aware that they're diving into this new space, this unexplored territory, especially for smaller nations like ours. And their focus, or their stated focus, is to be making sure or ensuring that the infrastructure is safely and adequately set up for these investors and this new market to flourish, and for others to be involved in this new market. But who is going to be involved is the real question, because the infrastructure is being set up, no doubt. The rules are being laid down, the partnerships are being made, but who is this actually targeting? So I came over here, and note, as of today, Friday, April 1st, 1 day ago, they made the post that Executive Director Roll will be a speaker at the European Digital Assets Summit, a separate event from the Bahamas 360. So the Bahamas 360, mind you, was a little over a week ago. That was March 22nd. Fast forward now to the European Digital Assets Summit, hosted again by Hedge Week, same group. Wednesday, June 29th, upcoming. So that's what, roughly 2 months away, almost 3. Planning into the future. What's this event about? The one-day event will explore a wealth of topics including the case for investing in digital assets, key legal and regulatory challenges, custody, security and liquidity, trading and investment, future developments, trends, boot camp for managers, shifting sentiment, all that good stuff. Who's behind it? We got the platinum sponsor Fireblocks, whoever that may be. Gold sponsor here, the BFSB and the SCB. You duck me this time, FTX. You get away this time. But I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever information was relayed here or is going to be relayed here will overlap with the information shared here. In fact, this in itself may just be the precursor or the warm-up for the real event here, since this one seems to be on a larger scale. Well, I can't really say. I don't have anything to actually gauge it off of. Registration, name, company, job title, work email, country, firm type. So it looks like if you don't have a firm or if you're not a part of a firm, this ain't your party. Dress code, attendees are asked to dress in business attire. That is very not degen. But I mean, all in all, it is what it is. Emil Van Essen, CEO, CIO of Katona EVE LLC. It's been its goal to create a diversified portfolio of digital blah 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 money. It's just money talk. It's just dudes with money talking about how they could get more money. I'd hate to really super oversimplify it like that, but it is what it is. We know what time it is by now. But I will continue to watch the BFSB and see what other moves they make going forward. Because now I think it's safe to say that they're closely tied or closely intertwined with FTX, which is a given. The Bahamas Financial Services Board and FTX is dealing directly with finances, so duh. I'm gonna be watching this closely. So I'll keep y'all posted with any updates that I find. So next up on the hit list, T&T Parliament allows the general public to submit suggestions or ideas for the development of the fintech and the digital asset space in their country going forward. So let's take a look at this. This isn't an article, by the way. This is a direct post from the T&T Parliament website. So let's take a look. So here, tntparliament.org. I'm assuming this is the official T&T Parliament website. I would hope this was the official one, but nonetheless, call for submissions, fintech and e-payments. So this part here is just copied down below. I think this is just a poster version of it, but the Joint Select Committee on Finance and Legal Affairs is inviting comments as it pertains to its inquiry into the implementation of a regulatory framework for the development of financial tech, fintech, and e-payments. As part of its inquiry process, the committee is inviting all stakeholders and interested persons to submit written comments or suggestions related to the following objectives of the inquiry. 1, to determine the extent to which fintech is available for use in the local economy and projections for its growth. And 2, to examine the challenges that may arise with greater fintech use and the sufficiency of regulatory measures. So, basically, what I'm gathering from this is that the T&T government is doing what most governments should be doing and reaching out to the general public and saying, help us. Now, it doesn't explicitly come across that way, but subtly, if they're opening the floor for suggestions and ideas, they're looking for some ideas. They're looking for help. They're looking for something that they don't currently possess, because if they possessed it, they wouldn't call for submissions and look for everyone to come give me your ideas. What are you talking about? What's going on? How does this work? They're looking for these ideas. They're looking for people who know how this stuff works or have an idea of how it could work and possibly can help them to implement it to make this stuff better for the country. Now, I love this. I absolutely love this. So it's saying the deadline for submissions is April 29th. So if today is April 1st, you have the entire month, the whole month, to email in. Written submissions should be addressed to the secretary to the committee as stated below or can be forwarded via email with the email plastered right here. full thing, big and bold, ready for you to go. I mean, you can't beat this. You can't beat this. You can't beat this. I love this, and I really hope, I pray that more governments, especially around the Caribbean, take note and follow this kind of trend, because this is a good style of leadership. It's better than what we had before. They're actually reaching out and trying to get some help. They got the Bitcoin thing. Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and they know who they want. But this right here, chef's kiss. Love to see it. I love to see it. This is what I want to see more of from governments throughout the rest of the Caribbean. I'm going to keep an eye on this, and I'm going to try to reach out to some people to see if they put out any submissions, and if they do, what kinds of things are they asking for? What are they looking for? So I'll keep you all posted. And to wrap up the show tonight, I wanted to give you all a bit more perspective on Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who I'm easily considering top contender for best Caribbean leader out right now. Like, she's Drake for the Caribbean. Like, she just don't miss. She does not miss. So the video that I'm referencing right now is a bit older. So this did happen on March 9th. Prime Minister Mia Mottley was visiting Ghana during their 65th anniversary of independence. And during this visit, she had, I guess, a public address while she was there. And the address itself is a half-hour long. As usual, all of the links and stuff down below for you to fully watch it yourself if you want to dig more into it, because this was 30 minutes of straight fire. This was 30 minutes of flames. I'm telling you, check it out when you get some time. But what I wanted to highlight specifically were 3 sections from her speech here. I wrote down the timestamp so we don't have to waste a lot of time going through them, and I am going to increase the speed of it so that the video itself doesn't seem too long or too drawn out. But pay close attention to what she talks about at these 3 points that I highlight.
Across our world, we must never, ever accept that there can be first-class or second-class citizens in this world. And we equally assert today that there cannot be first-class and second-class nations in the global community. It is for that reason that we will work together in solidarity to fight the battles of our time, challenging as they're appearing to be, quickly as they're coming at us. For whether it is the climate crisis that affects us, or whether it is the scourge of war that is raising its head yet again, or whether it is the assertion by some who have not been elected to take power from those who were duly elected, we have a duty to stand tall and to protect the principles of democracy and the principles that are anchored in our Constitution and the principles that we committed to in the United Nations Charter and the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. These may sound like a lot of big words to many of us, but the truth is, they are simple anchors that assure that each of us deserves the right to be heard, the right to be seen, and the right to be cared for.
Flames. Just flames. So, out the gate, this first segment that I broke down, and again, this is something you definitely want to go back, rewind, sit down, and watch thoroughly from start to finish. But this specific section here, she's highlighting this idea or this concept of first and second class citizens on a local and a global scale. And she's highlighting this fight or this desire for equal rights for all of the people, especially the people who are in those places that many would consider or could be seen or classified as second-class citizens. Even though on paper they're not, realistically the treatment that they see and how they've been living, the conditions that they had to live under, say otherwise. So let's look back into the second section.
We should have that first summit. Alas, COVID visited us, and what was to be the first summit of June 2020 ultimately became the summit of the 7th of September 2021. My friends, out of that summit, we agreed to establish a permanent forum for African and Caribbean territories and states, and that forum would be jointly coordinated by the African Union and the CARICOM Secretariat. We agreed also to take steps that the 7th of September shall forever be known as Africa CARICOM Day. And we ask you, our brothers and sisters in Ghana, as we will in Barbados, to celebrate that day with the knowledge that those of us across the Atlantic can never be divided, not even by the forces of history or the passage of time.
So right here, Prime Minister Mottley highlights a crucial point in this entire thing. It's this union of Africa and CARICOM. CARICOM is short for Caribbean Community, and it's basically kind of like the EU, but specifically for the Caribbean. And the whole premise behind them, it's summed up right here in the first two words under the pillars of integration: functional cooperation. So they're looking for ways to have economic integration, foreign policy coordination, human and social development, and security. And all these things to improve living and work standards, full employment, sustained and growing economic development, expansion of trade, all of these things that you normally see with the EU. That's what the CARICOM is. Basically just Caribbean EU. Just think of it like that and you pretty much got it. So Prime Minister Mottley is emphasizing here, based on the desire for this union of these two separate but still loosely tied powers, CARICOM and Africa, collectively tapping into African markets and bringing these two things together for this Africa CARICOM union, and what that could mean for both parties. So we know that Barbados completely cut ties from the English crown and is a independent republic nation now. We know that Prime Minister Mia Mottley is all about developing infrastructure for the people, starting in the country and making the necessary connections to do so. We know that she's actively engaged in diving into this new digital asset space and diving into this partnership with Binance, however that is going on or however that's set up. And now we see this move towards expanding to a similar yet significantly larger market, being Africa. So let's keep going.
That there must be change. We ask the world to also recognize that the international financial institutions cannot accept that two countries, namely Greece and Ghana, can go to the market to borrow money, have the same credit rating, but Greece must be able to borrow, and regrettably, at a fraction of what Ghana must now pay for the cost of capital. That is and cannot be part of a fair and just world in the 21st century. And why must it change? Because in a very real sense, even though we settled the individual rights to protect each and every one of us, at the formation of the United Nations, we preserved an old colonial order of empires having the right to determine what the global community should look like. We now know that it does not work. And we now know that the time has come to work together to change it for the betterment of the nations of the world altogether, yes, but in particular for the betterment of the people of our nations who were suppressed and colonized, regrettably, for too long. My friends, I ask us also to recognize that in today's world, technology makes geography and size almost irrelevant. And therefore it gives us that unique opportunity, and certainly as we have done in the Caribbean and in my own country, to assert that the time has come to reclaim our Atlantic destiny, that the time has come for strong strategic leadership. And that is why we have come to look to you on so many things for partnership as you have looked with us.
You pick up on the theme? Did you pick up on the theme? So right here, she's talking about rights again. She's talking about having a just system and how that lack of a just system requires something new to be created since the system itself is broken. And when we talk a lot about these explorations into cryptocurrency and the digital asset space, a lot of times we get apprehensive on a country level. We get especially apprehensive because it just seems so untested, even though we have El Salvador killing it for the past previous months. But I guess we'll just ignore that story. There's still a lot of apprehension behind an entire country adopting such a new, seemingly volatile, seemingly really risky technology. But what she's highlighting here is what a lot of people in the larger or the first world or first class countries or the first class places in the global community, what they tend to miss. While you're using this space to primarily make money, while you're taking advantage of the opportunities in this space to enhance your standing or to use the assets and resources that you currently have to gain or create more, There are countries that need this technology right now to literally have access, to literally have a fighting chance to play the same games that you play. What she highlighted here with the example with Greece and Ghana was an example of how this system that we currently have has so many discrepancies in how the laws and the rules are implemented, and how the guidelines can be tweaked and turned and adjusted based on who's who and what's what. And it creates this unjust system that she talks about. So now, like she said, with technology, with the software and the kinds of technology that we have access to right now, it breaks down a lot of the borders that these second-class citizens tend to be faced with. She recognizes that technology is the key to actually bypassing a lot of the obstacles, a lot of the gatekeepers, a lot of the guardians that basically held a lot of smaller nations in a chokehold. She's on the fight for freedom right now. Like, she's Eren Yeager. She is on the war path for just pure freedom and independence for her people, for the country and the people of Barbados. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Everything Prime Minister Mottley does is fire. Everything that I've seen from her, fire. Every time she gets up and speaks, fire. She doesn't miss. She just doesn't miss. So I'll stop lotioning her for now. I think you guys kind of get the gist of what I'm getting at. She is playing 5D chess. She knows exactly what she's planning on doing. She knows exactly where she wants to go. And she has a very good idea, I feel, of how to get there. So, of all the leadership that you can find in the Caribbean, I think Prime Minister Mottley is definitely one of the top, if not the top leaders to watch going forward for the crypto space in the Caribbean. As more things develop and Prime Minister Mottley just keeps kicking ass, I'm going to keep y'all posted and make sure y'all are fully aware of what the Prime Minister of the Caribbean is doing. As always, you already know what time it is. Thank you for coming through for another episode of Crypto and the Caribbean. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe with the bell so you don't miss it when we drop these new episodes, so you could stay up on all things Caribbean, all things crypto. And don't forget to let us know down in the comments what you think about any of the topics that we covered today. The Bahamas 360 was a whole thing, and you already know how I feel about FTX, but what do you think about the BFSB going forward with the conference in New York and in Europe? Where do you think that's going? What's next? The T&T Parliament submissions. If you're from T&T, are you going to put in any submissions, and what kind of submissions you thinking about putting in? And then lastly, just tell me how much you love Mia Mottley. Like, if that's all of the comments, I'll gladly go through and like each and every one of them, because right now she is on fire. She does not miss. But you might disagree. And for any disagreements, if you really want to yell at me, that's the place to do it. So, till next time, we can link.